this session is going to be interesting because we've got a fantastic panel, diverse range of marketeers, different products, OTC products. We have a service provider in TCS. We have, again, beauty products. We have somebody who takes you, two of them make you travel. And we have somebody who gets you married. Shadi.com, so great. And they're basically getting ready for the new economy. And the new kind of consumer that's emerging in India. Thanks to digitization, thanks to new kinds of content coming in, new kinds of entertainment being served, and the fact that that Indians are traveling a lot more. Not just within the country, but internationally also. So let's get down to business with each of you all talking about how you're reinventing your brands. So how is each of you all, how are each of you all transforming yourself to serve this new consumer, and what's happening to the brand that you're associated with? Beginning with marriage.
Thank you. So, like you mentioned, right, like how, and we were just talking about it, that, how the world around us is changing so much, and especially not just economically, culturally, and, in all aspects, right? The institution of marriage is changing, right? There was an idea of arranged marriages, which has now changed to planned marriages, as we spoke about.
Explain planned marriage, okay, because I don't get it. I have not been very successful at marriage myself.
Sure. So, there was a time when parents found you somebody and said, hey, meet this person, looks like a good person, this is going to be your partner. Those were arranged marriages. Now we're in a world when parents come to you and say, कि कोई है तो बता दो, नहीं है तो फिर हम देख लेते हैं. And then they look for you and they find multiple suitors for you to meet, match a vibe, and eventually then settle down with one of them. That's something that we kind of say planned marriages. It is somewhere between love marriages and arranged marriages. So it's chosen by you, but maybe found by somebody else. That's what we at Shadi.com are also trying to do, right? You spoke about the economic changes in our lives and our lifestyles. I'll give you a great insight. Recently, we were doing some research from our data from the platform, and we found out that women who are doing very well professionally and financially independently are underplaying their salaries by a lot on our platform.
Are doing what?
Underplaying their salaries by a lot.
Salaries.
So we found out that people who are women who are at very senior positions at very good companies, global companies, have added their salaries at, let's say, 12 LPA plus. Now that plus can be anything, so technically they're not lying, but we know this for a fact, they're much higher than that. But they're doing that because to kind of fit in and be more suitable, or multiple other reasons, right? Also found out that, you remember there was a time when government job was the thing, right? If you're a guy who has a government job, you are the guy, right? Now, entrepreneurs and MBAs are the new government jobs. They are the most suitable suitors on our platform. People are, or more desirable suitors on the platform, almost like, how a government job used to be. So yeah, we are also changing our brand approach. We are not trying to be the regressive, matchmakers that everybody thinks that we are. Right, we are trying to evolve our brand approach to, fit the new narrative of our society, and hopefully it works out pretty soon.
Fantastic. So L'Oreal has been, again, known for its fabulously glossy products and fabulously, the great makeup, all of that. What are the changes that have impacted you, and how are you reacting to the changes with the, a lot of travel is happening, but women are traveling a lot more now as compared to earlier. And they're getting exposed to a lot of international products. They're getting a lot more than they used to in the past. So how has it impacted what you're doing, apart from localizing colors, localizing maybe shades?
Absolutely. So this question has two parts to it, right? So L'Oreal Paris is a 114-year-old brand present in 150 plus countries. It's massive from a global point of view. It has three pillars. One is women empowerment, or because you're worth it, like everyone knows. Second is science, and the third part is Parisian luxury. Now, these three pillars don't really change. They don't need to be revitalized. So no matter which country we move to, exactly like you said, the macroeconomic trends of more working women, more disposable income, consumption shifting from household to individual consumers, digitization. So that really helps a company like L'Oreal. So it's more from a brand point of view, we don't need to drastically change our brand imagery from a country to country. However, what we need to adapt, and in a growing economy like India, is uh, firstly, are our products the correct products for the Indian woman? Many times what happened is when you launch a new brand comes into a country, there is a plug and play, right? So you have imports that come in and that's what gets sold. But over a period of time, as scale builds, the products have to be made for the country. They have to be tested on Indian skin, on Indian hair, and that's the first step, right? And that's how you will get scale. The more you make such products, the more you produce in the country, the costs become lower, the volume increases, and this is a virtuous cycle that everyone in FMCG/beauty wants to get into. So that's the first thing for us to do, which we did. I think the second thing is also this consumer is very demanding. So it's no longer, say for example, just about shampoos to coat hair care, right? There is a routine. So shampoo, everyone uses shampoo. Conditioner, half the consumers use conditioner. Then you have serums, then you have some hair masks and so many other products just in one category. And it is our responsibility as a company who's known for this and who has been at this, we are the #1 beauty brand in the world, to really bring to the market newer and newer gestures like these. And this is what we do. Right? So we play everything. So we play in terms of formats, so smaller packs, etc., for the mass market. At the same time, we play high and low, right? So we play high for the evolved consumer who's online. So in fact, L'Oreal is a pioneer when it comes to e-commerce, when it comes to digitization. We have invested ahead of the curve. We foresaw that this is happening. And in fact, from 2018, 2019 onwards, we are over-indexed on our investments, and that's really helped us because that's where the consumer is. So currently, there are 660 million smartphones in the country, right? So that's massive, and some around half of that households, so 330 million households, so around 2 smartphones. So the way we look at consumers itself has changed, and that's really helping us. So in terms of premiumization, new gestures, format change, and plus our brand itself being Parisian, being international, the consumer has come to that now, and that's what they ask for. So it really helps us create this virtuous circle.
We'll come to you later. Now let's move on to, so Abraham, on to you.
So I won't preach, but I'll just quickly talk about my brand. So I think the 3 macro trends that...
Can you take the mic up?
Yeah, sure. So 3 macro trends that I think set the backdrop. One is, of course, we are the fastest growing major economy in the world. So as a result of that, we're pushing up a fair amount of people literally every year into the consumption disposable income segment, which is a segment that we in the travel industry focus on. 2 is that the youngest demography in the world, that obviously has a lot of implications in terms of media consumption, lifestyle, attitude towards saving versus spending, as you referred to, and so on. And the third is the fastest growing digital economy and the sort of rapid shift that analog to digital that India has witnessed, leapfrogging various other economies. So if you look at our category, I think as a brand, for those who don't know Thomas Cook, we're a 143-year-old pioneer in modern travel as we know it. Everything from the first traveler's check, from the first hotel coupon was invented by Thomas Cook. So Thomas Cook India itself, in its own right, as I was explaining to you, is a multinational. We are in 25 countries and 5 continents ourselves. We bought the British brand when it liquidated in 2019. So we are the original Thomas Cook now. So our whole attitude on the backdrop of these 3 trends is really looking at how we need to shift and from a sustainability standpoint. One is this whole positioning. So I think where we are most focused on is what we call premium mass, which is the segment that's big enough to want high quality experiences when they travel and go on holiday especially. But at the same time, not too much customization because we recognize that's not really a space that we are good at in terms of scale. So clearly, positioning wise, we are in the premium mass space. Two is because of the young demography thing. The big shift is the shift from travel to places to travel for experiences. So you have a segment that's coming to us over the last 10 years that's coming from, I want to do this and this, so where should I be going, rather than I want to go here, what can I do? So that's a big shift, and that really signifies not just young in terms of age, but young in terms of attitude, experience-led travelers. And the third piece is, of course, the digital-first economy that India has already become. And that really means, from a discovery point of view, from a transactional consumption point of view, we've shifted from being pure traditional, which is where we were born, and while a lot of our competitors are pure online, we are what we call omni-channel. So we allow customers to interface with us pure offline or analog, if that's the mode they prefer, and a lot of first-timers are that way, and pure digital, which is the evolved customers, maybe customers like you and I. But most of India actually is a hybrid. So you have a lot of digital discovery and part digital, part analog consumption. This has got to do with ticket size, this has got to do with involvement of the family, this has got to do with complexity, this has got to do with visa applications and foreign exchange, a lot of which are physical processes still. So I think these are three big trends and three shifts that we're making. So I'm happy to say that from pre-pandemic to post, with a lot of focus on going after younger customers, because we realized we appeal more to older customers, we've actually managed to recreate products and experiences and reached young customers in a funky, quirky way. We've actually managed to bring down the average age of our customers by 10 years over the last 3-year period, which I think makes us squat in the middle of the Indian demography average age.
No, but doesn't that call for a more snazzy-looking brand, or maybe a brand built for the younger customers?
So I think that's
Thomas Cook Jr. or Jr. would be for kids. Thomas Cook, zing.
But actually, that's the interesting thing. We've realized that just because you have an old name standing for old things, it doesn't mean you can't do young things and suddenly be appealing as well.
So no brand name change.
Yeah. So for example, we've looked at brands like Jaguar and Land Rover, all of which come from the pedigree that we did and the vintage that we did, maybe even older. And I think they've all done that well.
We'll talk about this later, because I know there is a bunch of young travelers who actually like to travel. They take a year-long ticket to travel all over. That's going to hit India in the future. They take a unlimited, undated, round-the-world trip ticket, and they live in hostels, or they say live on couches in different homes.
So I won't say what I honestly feel like saying about my competition on stage, but let me just say that I think, the market's big enough. Everybody can have a different position on it. I think where they have gone is really about scale. First of all, they're a funded business, so business model is very different. We are a listed profit-making company. Two is that they have gone after component selling at scale and largely online. We are focused on integrating and selling experiences.
Okay.
And I think that's really where the sweet spot is for us, and that's where we make money.
Thank you. On to Ritu, if I'm correct. So I really thought you were Baygon, but you told me Baygon's no longer your brand because that's what Bayer is known for. Or is it Bayer? Bayer München? Is it Bayer or Bayer?
I think we usually call it Bayer.
Bayer.
At least in our office, but both are fine. Both
Okay.
pronunciations
So,
are fine.
but Baygon's no longer with you all. You're more Saradon, you're more with Supradin, you're more with other OTC brands. Not many. But Saradon is synonymous with headaches. You all have built it so well over the decades that you all have been promoting it. Supradin's for vitamins.
Yep.
So what's been going on at Bayer Consumer Health Products?
Yeah. So Bayer globally has 3 divisions. One is crop science, the other is pharmaceuticals, and the third one is consumer health, which operates in 150 plus countries. The India business on consumer health was launched in 2021. And when we were setting up the business, it was actually in the middle of the pandemic, and health was the first thing on mind for everybody. One of the things that we realized, and hence it sort of became a mission for our business as we launched it, was to really democratize the access to self-care in India. And when I say that, I essentially mean that making the access to self-care products and services, all solutions, more easy. And this is not just in form of availability, but it's also access in the form of information, access in the form of really knowing what is right for me, the access to reliable information itself. And why at all is that important? So we are a growing economy. Each one of us, we have huge dreams and aspirations. But when we look at some of the data in terms of productivity reports for Indians, an average Indian peak productivity period lasts only for as little as 7 years, which is almost half of that of a Chinese. And in a survey which was done among 195 countries, India ranks only at 158th rank, which essentially tells us that there is a huge scope for our productivity itself to improve, which of course will lead to a productivity improvement of the country and the economy. There is
You're basically saying they're lazy buggers. Yeah.
No, what I mean to say is that there's a huge need for each one of us to be able to take care of our minor ailments on an everyday basis in a much better way. It's good for the economy in multiple ways. One, of course, it's good for the individual. The burden on the healthcare system reduces, which is severely strained in India at almost a ratio of 1:2,000. Versus the 1:1,000 which is recommended by WHO. And this ratio only worsens as we go in the deeper towns and the rural parts of India, right? So there's a huge need for self-care, and which is what we started with. For our biggest brand, which is Saridon, the brand has been in India for 50 plus years. However, it has existed with only one SKU for 50 plus years. And there hasn't been any innovation. So one of the big things that we are working on right now, and I can't talk a lot of it today because this is in pipeline, but there's a lot of work that we are doing to bring in more innovations on Saridon
Basically
itself.
variants. You're bringing in variants of Saridon.
Variants, but I would not just say variants which can help the adoption of self-care. So as we talk about our modern audience, whether it's Gen Z or, so tablets, we are all averse of tablets. Formats is a big thing which can enable adoption of medicine. This is proven across many developed markets in vitamins and other supplements as well. It has started to make inroads in India as well, but it's still very small. As a large player in this area, we have the science and the expertise to make that accessible to a larger audience. Not just the product side, but even from a creativity side. There is a lot of science, but if I go and explain that science as is to a common man, there is very little possibility that they will understand the concept and start using something. But the ability of using creativity to translate that concept into a simple idea, a memorable idea in the healthcare space is a huge opportunity today. And those are some of the areas that we are working on. The third one I would say is technology, wherein using AI, it is possible to create a simple mobile device which has a huge penetration in India, more than 700 million smart devices that we have, falling numbers of featured phones. Total number of devices in India is more than the population of India. We launched a pilot in the state of UP last year, wherein we essentially used a voice chatbot to create a module which can be dialed into by any consumer, and it gives them access to both what do I do when I have a headache in the form of a tablet solution, also other tips and tricks, like we identified using a survey that the top causes of headache is stress, and within that, it's financial and relationship stress, which is the topmost in terms of causing stress. And hence, we've designed modules where there's simple financial problems or relationship-related problems, they have some answers to them. So how do you handle stress, which in itself can lead to lesser number of headaches, which is the biggest reason for absenteeism in most of our workplaces. So all of that bundles up to increase productivity, better economy. As per a McKinsey self-care report, better self-care has the potential to add up to 0.5 point to the GDP of an economy.
Woo, wow.
So that's the amount of
0.5
potential.
point.
Yeah. That's the amount of potential that improved self-care has.
So fantastic. I mean, self-care to, again, another what you would consider one of India's top-notch brands. And they've done phenomenally well all over the world. That's TCS. I remember meeting Fakir Chand Kohli in the 90s, who was one of the movers and shakers behind it. I don't know if he imagined that it would become the large corporation it is today. So tell us about reinventing TCS in a way, or with keeping the new startup economy in mind, keeping in mind that the cryptocurrency side, the NFT side. How are you servicing? There's mergers and acquisitions happening all over the world. Large consolidation is happening. So how are you ensuring that you still stay relevant to these guys?
Please don't murder me for starting to correct you, to saying that we don't have products. We have products as well.
So you have IP.
So that's what I said. Please don't murder me because that's my first statement.
I'd like to be corrected. Please tell me, because I really thought there were no products, no IPs under TCS.
So the way I would look at this opportunity is to talk today about how people think TCS is an enterprise, which is basically dealing within the B2B world. Everybody knows about TCS, but surprisingly, a lot of people still don't know about TCS.
Like me, I confess.
We are an enterprise who've got service, products, platforms, consulting, all of it under one umbrella. We definitely take a lot of pride in working with almost everybody who's on the stage today. So we take a lot of pride right from Air India to Thomas Cook to Bayer to L'Oreal, not with Shadi.com, sorry. we believe in getting married in-house. But the way I would look at it is we're trying to serve 3 different segments. The segments that I would say is there are a lot of people who know and who want to join us in India because we're TCS, we're a tech giant. Little did you know that we're actually touching every person's daily work of life. So right from actually talking about technology to rather enabling a person in terms of your postal services to getting your passport. Today it's TCS.
Passport I'm aware of.
Even your postal services, right? So there are various such, not just like I said, these are products and platforms. You go to any one of your retail stores like a Chroma, everything that comes on your bill is through TCS. What you're seeing through AI is through TCS. If you're seeing something on Air India, the technology backbone is TCS. So that's one segment that we're catering to. The second segment that we're definitely catering is to our customer's customer. And I think that's what we spoke briefly inside is. Our job is not to go back and create a brand awareness for ourselves, but literally have our customers know more about themselves. What do I mean by this? So today, if I'm wanting to help them innovate, growth, transform, I need to become their strategic partner. I don't need to be considered as a technology giant alone. Tech definitely is an enabler for a lot of things that we do today. But if I also have to go back and becoming a transformative partner to you, I need to sit in with you and be hand in glove to your problems, your challenges, your needs. And that's the role that TCS is playing today. And here is where marketing plays a role. So my brand image in India would be very different, and people would love to know me, versus somebody sitting in North America or Latin America, or as a matter of fact, even in Canada or Europe, right? Little do people know that we do advertise in French or in Spanish, or we are talking to Germans and we're talking to them in their language. But we're always considered as a tech person, which is where the transformational journey is going to change, and the way we're talking to these customers and the way we are bringing ourselves out is the different side of TCS that we're talking today. So that's segment number 2. And segment number 3 is bringing the two ecosystems together.
Nice.
Right? We can't do this separately. Because at the end of the day, we may be the presidents of each and every company, we may be the CEOs of every company, but we're individuals who have daily needs. How are we connecting the two to drive this entire ecosystem through this white animal is what we're trying to achieve. If you take all your IS exams and you take a lot of your intelligent tests, even those are one of our products. So everything in terms of your learning and development, we have a platform for that. We have a platform and our products is, like I said, Omni Store or an Omnichore store. We've got plenty of these products. So there's a whole list of it.
Okay. So now, Air India Express. I flew Air India recently and I was delighted by the service. And I believe Air India Express is going the same route. It's going to transform itself after the Tatas have taken it over.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I mean, Air India Express has been a legacy brand. It's been there for about 18 years now. And if you look at Air India as a group, it's been there for 90 years, right? For me, I think our brand has seen a transformation in the last 5 years where I was part of AirAsia India and now it's part of Air India Express, right? That has taken us over 2 years of work that we have put in. Air India Express itself, although a legacy brand, it had its own positioning in the Middle East market, etc. But we wanted to take that ahead in terms of what does it mean? Like if we have to completely revitalize a brand as such as Air India Express, which has a legacy of Air India as well as the Tatas now, how do we bring that across to the new consumers, right? That is what we wanted to take. At the core of any airlines, it is the 3 pillars that we look at, which is connecting people, places, and cultures, right? We wanted to take that one step ahead. We wanted to say that, we would stand for an airline who will make meaningful connections. We will bring you the most unique of experiences, and we will give you the best in value, right? But also tying it back to the being rooted to the culture that we are coming from, like being an Indian airline, we need to have that Indian warmth as well. We call it the unique Indian warmth. There is a reason for us to position it as a unique Indian warmth because when there is a classification in India or anywhere else where the media is classified as a full service airline and a low cost carrier, right? We don't classify ourselves as a low cost carrier. The only reason for that is when you look at the differentiation between a full service airline and low cost airline, there is not much of a difference, right? We rather give you more value. We feel that we give you more value than a full service airline where you get to choose how you want to fly. We have, as a low cost carrier, as they say, we give you options for you to choose from in terms of if you want to eat something like a veg meal or a non-veg meal. That is what you get from a full service airline. You'll rather be asked whether veg or non-veg. We will give you a full menu to choose from, right? We have gourmet options. If you don't want to carry a baggage, why would you want to pay for it, right? Those are value additions that are there, but you don't get to choose with a full service airline, but you can do so with a low cost carrier, where that comes across as value-based services. So we call ourselves a class of its own, and we position ourselves as fly as you are, right? You decide how you want to fly with us. You decide what you want to take with you. You decide how much you want to pay for it. We have everything that you want. You just have to choose and decide what is the experience that you want. That is what we stand for, right? Now, as a brand which is there for about 18 years now, how do we revitalize that? We had to look at from ground up, right? It's not just about putting a great ad on TV. It's about changing everything from our systems, from our website. Like Riddhi said, it's been powered by TCS, right? Now we have a brand new website where we launched in last few months back, right? Even there we had so much of interest from the consumers where we saw a 130% increase in terms of people visiting our website. India is an OTA driven market. For us to achieve that is great. Like people took interest in terms of what we are doing. We launched our brand in October, and since then our brand value has increased by over 3x. Right? People are looking for us and seeing that what is that new brand stands for. We have a known livery that we have unveiled. We are looking at completely revitalizing our service standards. We are looking at everything that has been there on Air India Express and looking at how can we improve our services from ground up. How do we talk to the customers? What do we serve them? Everything, right? So that is what we are doing as a brand that you will see. I think in India, and as an Air India group, we have about 470 orders, and then that means that we'll be getting about 190 aircrafts in the next 5 years. And in the next 15 months, we'll be adding about 50 aircrafts. That shows that how much this economy is going to grow. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, now going that way, challenges you'll face while, undergoing this drastic change, and the solutions you'll are finding, the challenges you'll are facing with you.
Challenges are a lot, especially when the airline has been there for decades, especially when you're doing a brand launch or you're completely revitalizing the brand. In the smallest things, right? When I went across, we cater to 3 different regions. We go to Middle East, we go to India, then we go to Southeast Asia as well. As a brand, it's about the look and feel, it's about the feeling, it's about what you stand for. When your brand is there for so long, whatever has been done for the last 18 years is there. For you, it becomes a challenge for you to change every of those aspects, right? When we launched our brand on October 18th, there was over 400 brand touchpoints we had to change at one go. That has never been done in an aviation industry. And we did it on the day of the launch. When the launch happened in Mumbai, people went back from the event to the airports and they started looking at the new FIDs, etc., the new look of the airline on the day of the launch. That took immense effort from every aspect of, how do we change each system, where we have to work with multiple different partners, etc., right? Then there is challenges in terms of backend systems. Air India Express was working with different backend system for booking, for payments, etc. How do we bring that across? So a brand launch like this takes about 1.5 years, 2 years of backend work for us to even come out in the market and say that, now we are ready for it. So the challenges are immense. We are proud to say that, we have done that immensely well. People will start seeing those changes over a period of time, which will happen slowly.
Simplistically put, it's always people, process, technology. But I'm undermining the challenges, that's what I'm trying to say. But the way I would look at it is literally in those 3 parts, people, process, and technology. Technology, because we all know we're being flooded with AI, we're being flooded with the way literally intelligences or the amount of data that is being served to us, and how do we use that intelligently to serve the right purpose through the right technology is where the challenge begins. Also in the form of people, because we're so comfortable being comfortable, right? We're in our comfort zones. We're absolutely okay with our old mobiles. We're absolutely okay because we're using Apple. We're comfortable only using an Apple and not moving to an Android. Imagine moving the entire organization to a different technology or a tech stack or the ways of working, which includes process. So it's people, process, and technology. All that movement is a big challenge. And we faced that terribly during COVID because our customers and customers' customer were far more advanced than we were. And we definitely don't want to lose the amount of effort and the money invested in something which is ancestral. We have data resting there. We have our ways of working over there. And we definitely have a lot of technology there. We don't want to give away that and start with something new. At the same time coming out as innovative partners, right? So for me, each one of these segments has really played a very important role, and we continue to struggle there. At certain places, I'm struggling with technology because somebody is far more advanced than the others. Or maybe they're too primitive to even absorb something new. At some places, I'm struggling with the mindset. It's so difficult for people to consider us maybe not as tech partners, but a consulting wing, or that we have a platform to offer. So look at that platform and not just look at us as a service provider, or look at us as a strategic growth investor rather than somebody who can just give you arms and legs to do a certain module. So for me, all of these are continuous activities which I'm struggling with in different verticals because we have travel, we have hospitality, we have retail, we have BFSI, we have banking, insurance, all kinds of verticals that we're dealing with. And with all of them, I have to sit down and dissect in this manner.
So solutions, you keep knocking away, knocking away, knocking away. Do you?
It's every time new solution, unfortunately. I'm not saying it's going to be, we can't have a cookie cutter approach. We just cannot live with it for the simple reason competition is so tough. There's everybody who's got so
TCS
much.
is saying competition is tough.
The day I'm going to be complacent and comfortable, assuming that we don't have competition, I've lost my battle. And that's the place where I'm saying people are very comfortable being comfortable. I don't want to be in that space. So TCS has competition, I have competition, you've got competition. Each one of us have that. Until the time we have that bent of mind, we're up and kicking. And then we're going to be there and we're always going to be TCS the way you're calling us.
For me, TCS is hallowed ground.
For
It's
me
like,
too. For me too as well. I take a lot of pride in that.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I mean, competition. Remember TCS, she said it here, it's facing a lot of, it's facing competition. On to buyer, I mean, the challenges you face, there is regulatory challenges, there's distributor challenges, there's all of that. And, you know, education, information, consumers, there's the FDA, there's all of that.
Yeah. No, I think there are a lot of challenges everywhere. And I think, like she said, process, technology, people, all of these are very, you've got to be on your toes all the time to keep up with the pace at which technology is evolving today, the pace at which consumer needs are evolving today, how trends in marketing are changing today, with all of that. Regulatory, definitely in this sector is a big guideline to adhere to. And it's there for the right reasons. And when I say responsible self-care, regulatory is what sort of keeps all of us in that check to ensure that it is responsible self-care. And it is very important in a nation where a large part of consumers are not able to read or write. They are not aware. A large number are not able to read. It's very, very important. And it's very important, hence, to adhere to that. I think on top of all of that, to me, the biggest challenge that we need to be very cognizant of is not to get overwhelmed by all of this and not to lose the consumer centricity. Because a lot of times, in the spirit of catching up with that latest technological advancement that has come in the spirit of adopting the usage of AI, or doing what my competition is doing and just let me be in that race, we can sometimes lose the sense of what my consumer really wants. Sure. And I think the biggest challenge in this whole pace and turmoil that we live in, the number of changes, the uncertainty, is to just keep the sanity to ensure that we are very close to our consumers, we are listening to what they need, and whatever we do is to make things better for them at the end of it. And not because I want to use that technology, but because that technology will make a difference to them.
It becomes an enabler.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Abraham, in your case, the new gen consumers coming in, you have the older lot, you have an India which is growing, part of it is growing older, whereas the younger is getting younger and able to travel. So the challenges you face addressing these, and how are you addressing these challenges?
So fundamentally, we are a travel and travel-related services organization, and the two big businesses we are in is travel per se and foreign exchange. And in travel, we are in B2C and B2B, and similarly with foreign exchange, or in multiple aspects of foreign exchange. Most people associate us only with the currency that you take when you go on a holiday, but we also do wholesale foreign exchange, issue cards, import and export currency. In fact, we're probably the largest back-end dealer of import and export currency in the country by far. So in each of these businesses, there's a fair set of complexity. But I think interestingly, over the last 3 years, at least since we started emerging out of the pandemic, I think the problem is not of opportunity. we don't have demand-related problems anymore. In fact, travel's, literally taken off. And I think a lot of our competition didn't come through the pandemic too well. So we are, in a way, stronger than before. And I think what has also happened is that customers have reset and saying, I'm willing to pay more for a quality experience with a quality provider that I can trust. And I think, therefore, we don't have demand-related problems anymore. We have supply-related problems. For example, our biggest problem right now in the holiday space is visas, which is beyond our control, right?
Yep. Especially Canada, with it behaving badly with India.
You name the country, Schengen, US, all of them are challenges. So in each of these, our efforts really, so that's one part. Obviously, we can't control that too much. But what we're attempting to do, even from our service proposition point of view, is given that a lot of people come to us with this wanting to balance the convenience of technology with the personalization of humans and what they bring to the table and conversations, what we are trying to do is trying to use technology to extend the human reach. So for example, video chats, where you can schedule a video chat and have a near human experience, with an actual person and ask those questions that you want to without the inconvenience of having to go to a shop and parking and all that jazz. Or even, for example, foreign exchange, which you can buy now with just WhatsApp. We found not just young people, all of us use WhatsApp pretty much for everything. So we actually have a service on WhatsApp for foreign exchange.
Okay, that
where you
lady
can buy
in red
and
is
sell
flashing the
foreign
red signal, so we'll have to speed up.
So a lot of external challenges, honestly, and more opportunities, right? So L'Oreal Paris is actually very beautifully positioned as a mass premium or a masstige or accessible luxury brand. So we have the mass segment as well as we have the aspirational luxury segment that we cater to. With this opportunity come a lot of challenges as well. So firstly, competition. In beauty, in makeup, skincare, hair care, hair color, the 4 categories we play in, there is massive competition and it's only going up. You have traditional players like us who have been around for a long time. You have startups, newer and newer brands being launched, private labels, celebrity brands. I mean, you have new ones
Also
coming
the
in every
D2C
day,
ones.
right? Yeah, and because it's a consumer's market right now, right? Whatever, and with these new brands come, they are offering, many times they are more agile if they are smaller brands. So they are offering very new things, new gestures that we take time to replicate. Also, it is tempting for us to go behind every single small opportunity.
There's also the woke coming
Yes.
up, the woke
Yeah.
folks who want to be on the right side of environment, on the right side of...
Absolutely, the right claims, so vegan,
Yeah.
sustainable, green claims, etc. So for us, it's nice to look at these opportunities. At the same time, it's tempting to go after each one of them, but we shouldn't do that because it's not possible for us. We can't invest in every opportunity. I think that's one, competition. The second thing is really pricing. Pricing there's a mad game on pricing that's happening right now, especially on categories like hair. On more well-established categories because of the mad competition. Consumers are upgrading to large pack but at the cost of pricing. So how do you maintain that while having your balance sheet clear? Then, of course, it's category. L'Oreal Paris is one of the few brands that plays in 4 categories. So then you have 4 different, set of competition, the consumer definition, their needs are different. The positioning of the brand, how does it stay consistent across all these? That's an internal challenge for us as a brand. At the same time, growing together all categories.
Fantastic. So now on to Devesh.
Okay, so yeah, I think more opportunities than challenges. So on an org level, major 2 challenges that we've been facing for a long time and we've anticipated that for a long time are A, being relevant, and B, because we're happy to be industry leaders, right? Category leaders. We're in an industry that doesn't have a lot of competition going on, right? So second is just to keep the user interested, and the 2 of them are pretty much connected, right? When I say relevance, why I say that is because we are kind of serving 3 generations, right? When a profile is made on Shadi.com, right? It's not just that person that we are catering to. We're catering to that person's parents, that person, right? And obviously the other side of parents, and sometimes even grandparents are involved or like whatever rituals, right? And secondly, regionalization, right, is a problem that we've been facing for a long time because in certain markets we could not penetrate because there were already other players in that market. Now with digitalization and a lot of tools at our disposal, we are able to do that very actively, right? So let's say South market, for example, Shaadi.com for the longest time has not been the biggest player, which has changed over past 2 years. We have, pretty much doubled our business in the southern market. Having said that, the northern markets that we are already operating in, right, we have to continue being relevant, right? When I say relevant, we have to be not just relevant to the certain age group, but also to people of different beliefs, right? There are, like you said, there are the woke people, right, who would say, "Ki, don't tell me to get married till I'm, man, maybe 35, 40, oh, I want to get married whenever." Yeah, sure, okay. Then there will be people who want to get married at 25, right? Then there are people for whom the idea of marriage or the idea of matchmaking is very different from, the traditional idea of matchmaking. We have to be relevant to all of them without offending anybody, right? While we are catering to, let's say, the Gen Z, there's a very thin line that we offend the traditional customers also, right? So we are operating in a very small, safe space, middle ground. Lucky for us with, the right technology tools and social media at play now, we are able to gauge the audience perceptions, what they want, what they talk about, and how they want us to be very well, and also operate within those guardrails then, right? So that we kind of cater to everybody as much as we
No,
can.
and I think you will have to also evolve, going by the Instagram reels. You'll have
Of
to
course.
evolve towards more video. Let the consumer upload more videos. Let the consumer upload. Make it the textual platform.
The tech has already always been there. See, Shaadi.com started in 1994. That's when I was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
1994.
Yes.
Boy.
So, back then, tech was nothing, right? So we've evolved on tech since then. So that's something I think we've been on the front foot in the category anyway, right? So that's something we're not worried about now that AI coming into play. We know that for a fact security matters, and how the two parties talk or how the two profiles meet. All of that has become much easier than it was. It was very awkward at some point in the beginning. Now you have prompts and stuff, right? So it becomes easier for people to talk to each other, get comfortable. All of these things have been possible because of the tech, and tech will continue making life easier, right? As a business problem, regionalization and again being relevant is something that we've been struggling with and we will be struggling with going forward. So we are looking for all the upcoming changes to kind of help us with that.
Fantastic. So they've all spoken. I hope it was an interesting session for you all. I found it very interesting because each of them are kind of revitalizing themselves and they're finding challenges, but they're getting over those challenges by coming up with their own solutions. Thank you very much for being such a wonderful panel and for tolerating my questions and answering them so, so very lucidly. Thank you again, all of you all, to each one of you all. Thank you.
Yeah,